Total drama underdogs are looked at very polarizing by the total drama community. If done right, underdogs can be really incredible to watch and really satisfying, especially when they win. But if done poorly, that just makes them look like a Mary Sue, or just a type of character who you just want off the screen instantly. And in this video, we're going through all the underdogs in total drama history and just me giving my opinion about them. So yeah, let's just get started with Island. For Total Drama Island, while people could consider Heather because a lot of people were targeting Heather, Heather also did have some control over the game, so I wouldn't necessarily call her an underdog. And also, I'm not really including antagonists in this video, so there's that. But the underdog in Total Drama Island, in my opinion, was definitely Harold. Harold was looked at as a nerd and kind of just a wimpy geek, and probably a lot of people thought was weaker than Tyler, someone who's just, well, yeah, Tyler on the season, someone who's just that bad in challenges. But Harold actually did prove his worth in some of the challenges, and in general it was pretty useful. He was very clutch in the dodgeball episode, winning it for his team. He was very clutch in the talent show contest with his beatboxing. Harold won 2 challenges for the Killer Bass, and hot take in my opinion, he was probably a better competitor overall than people like a DJ or Duncan or Jeff. Just in my opinion, based on the island challenges, I do think if Harold made it to the merge, we could have saw Harold win a lot of the post-merge challenges, but that's just my opinion. And obviously, Harold's run does come to an end because he decides to vote off Courtney over Duncan, which still to this day doesn't make that much sense, but then again, I'll do a writer's pet video sometime in the future, so there's that. But Harold was an underdog. A lot of people looked at him as weak, and he really did prove that he wasn't. And while he didn't change much people's perspective overall, at the time it did at least make him look more favorably, so there's that. Moving on to Total Drama Action, and we do have 2 underdogs to really talk about, and that is kind of the duo of the season, and that is Lindsay and Beth. Lindsay coming into the season was a dumbass, and obviously she still leaves the game pretty much because she votes herself out of the game. She did actually do a lot to prove herself in general, and I do think Lindsay actually made a pretty big impact. And while did she change many people's perspectives overall? Probably not. But I do think her redemption storyline was actually very nice, and you could classify it as just a redemption story and not really an underdog, but I would personally kind of label her as both. But yeah, I think the true underdog of the season was definitely Beth. In my opinion, a lot of people view Beth as weak and lying about her boyfriend, which, to be honest, if I was there, would I believe Beth has a boyfriend over people like a Heather or Lashana? Probably not. I would believe that Beth is just lying and making stuff up. But obviously, she was being truthful about it. No one thought Beth was going to be a beast in challenges, but she was able to beat people like Heather. And Heather believed in the aftermath that Beth could actually be a threat, which Heather probably wasn't thinking in Total Drama Island. So, yeah, I do think Beth honestly did prove herself throughout the season. And Beth did make a lot of great social connections with people. And had Total Drama just always have one winner instead of just wanting ending where Duncan would have won, Beth would have smoked Duncan in a final vote. Beth would have gotten the votes of a Bridget, a DJ who was supposed to be Duncan's best friend, maybe even a Gwen, Lindsay, Harold, Justin, maybe Lashana, I don't know. But I do think Beth, honestly, on the season really did serve as an underdog. The main issue of why I wouldn't call Beth a satisfying underdog is because, well, she's Beth. Beth is really annoying. Beth is not really the most rootable character in the world. And despite the fact that, yes, it's cool to see an underdog rise above the ashes and seeing her come off from her shitty placement in Island, I just don't really like Beth that much as a character. And while I have been higher on her in recent memory, it's just mainly because of just retrospect and stuff. But yeah, Beth is an underdog, but I wouldn't really classify her as a satisfying one. Moving on to World Tour, and I feel like we have 3 people to consider, but I wouldn't consider any of them true underdogs of the show. We do have Heather, but I feel like similar to Lindsay, it's more so a redemption storyline, to be honest. And then we have Cody, who, again, his plot line was more so just wrapped around Sierra and him being like, oh, I never thought I could get this far. And them trying to prop up Cody as this big underdog, but we all knew Cody was never going to win the season. People viewed Cody as a pipsqueak, and he remained a pipsqueak. He never had any shining moments. So I really can't consider Cody an underdog either. And the final person that I did consider was kind of DJ, because I feel like if they wanted DJ to go further, they could have really set up this nice team victory storyline for him to be the last one standing and go all the way, probably having the same push that Cody did, but instead of with the whole Sierra trying to pretty much assault him. We could have just seen DJ pretty much go beast mode throughout the post-marriage, which I would have personally loved, but again, World Tour, we need to just focus on Heather and Alejandro, so there's that. No true underdogs in World Tour. Moving on to Revenge of the Island, which was actually my first season, and I have so much nostalgia for it, and we obviously have our second underdog winner of the show, and that is Cameron. Obviously, Cameron was pretty much a bubble boy, a pipsqueak, a weakling. Joe was pretty much picking on him the entire season for just really being weak in general. But just to see Cameron obviously win at the end, pulling off the Iron Man suit, which was really cool in my opinion. Again, I love Cameron in Revenge of the Island. I think Cameron was great. And while personally I would have loved for Mike to win, his underdog story was very strong in my opinion, seeing him really come into his own at the very end, beating Lightning, obviously, and yeah, Cameron was just a really great winner, and I don't think I really need to explain myself on how he was truly an underdog. For the dark era of total drama with All Stars and Pahkitew Island, there actually wasn't really any underdogs, at least to my knowledge. Obviously, it was All Stars just being more so about Mike and Zoe, and that's really it. I guess you consider Alejandro one at the merge, where he's kind of just a pariah, but then again, it's like, I wouldn't really call Alejandro the strongest underdog anyways, for All Stars, at least in my opinion. Then we have Pahkitew Island with people like Sammy and Ella, the pariahs of their tribe, but then again, not necessarily really underdogs. Yeah, I think for these two seasons, we didn't really have any underdogs, and this is where the show definitely takes a dip, and really, we haven't seen any good underdogs, especially for the later ones that I will be ranting about. Remember when I posted my community tab lines that I think Sierra is the only character that I truly dislike on Toll Drama? Well, that was a lie, as obviously we have the Adversity twins from the Ridonculous Race, which they just suck, honestly. Again, really just being a complete ham of these underdogs that you need to root for so badly, which I did fall into as a kid when I was 12 watching this show. Again, like, I was rooting for the Adversity twins to come over their fear, and I thought they were really funny, which, obviously, to be honest, they still are very funny to laugh at, honestly, not to laugh with, but, like, honestly, their characters just don't make any sense to me. So you have all these type of diseases, all these type of things that could potentially kill you, and you decide to go on the Ridonculous Race to, like, what, show... I don't even know what they're really showing, to be honest. I think they said it in a confessional, but I completely forgot. And they have their gym teacher completely laughing at them. Yeah, I would too if they told me, like, if I went to school with them and they said, hey David, we're gonna compete on the Ridonculous Race, I would be like, are you serious? Why would you do this to yourself? Again, and how are their parents okay with this? I don't understand, and I didn't really like them on the rewatch. I thought they were completely insufferable, and I don't know why I was even... Actually, no, I do know why I was rooting for them. Obviously, they're underdogs, but it's like, in retrospect, they should have went home much, much sooner, and I'm really glad that they went home in public humiliation, as they should, because really, if they had just went home due to some, like, medical disease or something, I probably would have hated that elimination, but to see them go home based on other people just booing at them, I found that really satisfying, honestly. Now moving on to the final two seasons of the show, the Reboot era, and for season 1, not really any underdogs. And for season 2, there's not really any underdogs, but I might as well just talk about two people, starting off with Nichelle. I do think Nichelle had more so a redemption arc, or at least that's what the show was building until they decided to just boot her out for really no reason, in my opinion, outside of the fact that they just didn't want Nichelle to make it that far. But in my opinion, had she not gotten the bullshit elimination, I do think it would have been interesting to see how she would have interacted with people like Julia. And seeing the fact that, you know, Julia was building her army and MK, probably MK could have gotten Ripper and Axel, and then Nichelle, Bowie, Raj, and Wayne all could have really had this massive feud at the merge. I think that would have been cool to see, but they just didn't want Nichelle to make it that far. Probably because they knew Nichelle was going to steamroll in all the challenges. And the final one, we might as well talk about it considering the fact that he's on the thumbnail, and that is Wayne. Is Wayne an underdog? Technically, I guess you have to consider him that because a lot of people did underestimate him. But it's like, the fact of the matter is he wasn't a satisfying underdog, to be honest. He never had the drive, he never had the passion to be like, I want to be good at challenges, or he would say that, but he was just too dumb for it to work. And to be honest, dumb characters in Told Drama can either be really strong or really just a flop. And in my mind, Wayne was just a massive flop. I'll talk more about Wayne during the winner rankings and also the season review that I'm planning to do. where I talk more in depth about his character, because I feel like I have a lot more to say that isn't really related to the video, obviously. But Win is not really a good underdog. Is he an underdog? I guess you have to consider him one, but I would put him near the bottom. He's definitely not the best underdog of the show's history. But yeah, that is the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so glad to be back posting videos again. But yeah, that'll do it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, peace out. Love you guys.